Well, good morning. It is only 7 a.m. here in Nome, Alaska, as I'm making sure everything's working here. I see I have a few minutes to get things set up because nobody is on right now. I'm not even sure if I'm on. It looks like I'm on, but I don't see me. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I don't know how well you can see my hair today, but if I had a makeup artist, that's what they would do for Bedhead with Chad. I see that I got a slight delay in my video as I'm just looking like I'm just staring at the screen like an idiot. But it is time for the Kramer Hair Edition version of Bedhead with Chad on April Fool's episode. So those that wake up late at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or 7 a.m. Alaska time are going to miss out on a few stories. But yesterday I woke up at 3:30 a.m. Alaska time, which is a whopping 7:30 a.m. Michigan time or 8:30 a.m. Chicago time, and I was bored to tears. Many of you doing this whole sheltered in place thing. Hey Wanda. And I just started talking in front of my camera because everybody's online doing their thing, playing music, doing this Facebook Live stuff. I'm like, I don't have any talents. Well, I have some talents. My mom called me out later in the day, said, Chad, you can sing. And well, I used to sing. I sound good with a bunch of people when my voice is drowned out, but I don't sing so much anymore. But I get paid to talk, so I figured I'll just get on here and talk, and it became something. So I also, good morning, happy belated birthday, old man. Hey, watch the old man stuff. Hey, Jesse, I see you too. I redid my rig here so I could see better and actually look at you guys while I'm reading your comments. But I challenged you guys yesterday to give me some words, and then I'll tell stories from not necessarily my life, but my experiences from the words you gave me. So yesterday I got a ton of words thrown at me, and some of you try to give me some like soft pitches of words that you knew that would be easy for me, but I picked some of the harder words, like the word machete. That was one of them. And yesterday you threw military at me, and I had some stories. I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell them, but I decided this: I will tell one self-incriminating story per time I do this. But if you want to hear the self-incriminating story, you got to stick with me to the end. I have one today, and I had mentioned yesterday when I told the story about how we built Perkins beans that when Danette jumped on, I said there's a story about be righteous, but I didn't tell that one. Well, people bugged me. They messaged me, said, hey, I want to hear the be righteous story. So I will tell the be righteous story, even though it is very, very self-incriminating near the end. But one of the words thrown at me was machete. Thinking they were going to stump me with machete, but I actually have a machete story, believe it or not. I actually have more than one, but one's really good. When I was in 5th or 6th grade, I know it was when I was going to Patrick Hamilton School, which is 5th and 6th grade back in the day. There was a kid, and I will only use first names in these stories. That way it does not incriminate the guilty, which I only use my first name. I'm Chad. If you can't look up and see my last name is Benkert, then I don't know what to tell you. But I was in 5th or 6th grade, and there was this guy, his name was Dwayne, and he would always talk about all these weapons he owned, and I'm like, yeah, right. Now, this is back in the day where you could still like bring a BB gun for show and tell. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have any weapons. And he said, well, I'm going to bring a machete to church. I'm like, no, you won't. Well, he brings a machete to church, but little do I know, I'm in children's church and I used to go to, this is when I went to the First Assembly of God in Dowagiac, and I'm down in children's church, and this kid comes running downstairs. It says, Dwayne's here, and he has a machete, and he said he's going to kill Chad. And I'm in the middle of like singing kids songs, and I hear this, and I jump out, and I run into the closet. And, you know, because I'm scared to death. And so I run and I hide in this little closet. And meanwhile, while I'm in the closet, I hear this commotion, and he comes down, and he comes down, and he goes, "Where's Chad? I'm going to kill him." And he's, from the story, I mean, I heard this, but I didn't see this, but I heard it afterwards. And he's swinging this machete. And then the lady that was running Super Church or Children's Church or whatever they called it back then, she's standing there, and this guy is swinging the machete at her, and she's rebuking him in the name of Jesus. She's like, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." And as she's swinging this machete, and then at some point, I don't know what I was thinking, I bolted out of this, because I knew the room. It was a big room. This is the basement of the church. I bolted out of the closet, and I ran to the back emergency door, which had a ramp that went upstairs, and I ran out, and I ran out, I ran upstairs, and I ran into the church during church. Now, my mom was playing piano back in those days, and I ran up to the front, and I'm like, "Dwayne has a machete, and he's going to kill me." Now, what do you think my parents are thinking during church? My mom's thinking during church, "Yeah, right, you're insane." Well, they went and they grabbed the church elders, and they went downstairs, and yeah, Dwayne was downstairs with a machete wanting to kill me. So, yeah, I was threatened as a 5th or 6th grader in church with a machete. Now, long story short, it turned out well. They took the machete from him. He didn't go to jail. Back in those days, you didn't go to prison for the rest of your life for bringing a machete to church. But, yeah, I was threatened my life in Super Church with a machete. So, how many of you have ever been threatened? Go ahead and just put a share or a like or a heart if you've ever been threatened for your life with a machete in Super Church. Yeah. So if you got some words, throw at me. Go ahead and throw a topic. Now, this is how it works. You got to put a word. And don't bait me with easy stuff. You got to try to stump me. But just throw a word out there, and I will tell you a story from my experiences from either my life or stories of people I've met with a word or a topic. So the next one they threw out at me, and this was kind of a softball. You'll get this in a minute. Was softball. And I wish I had pictures. I'm not high tech enough yet. In the future, if I continue to do this, I will like have screen share and all that. But one of my softball girls, actually more than one, threw out the word softball. And although I have a ton of stories to tell, one of my favorite stories from softball is Dan and I have been coaches for quite a few years. When we were in Florida, our kids started playing baseball. And when we were there, it's very, very, very competitive. And we had coaches there that were like retired major league, minor league players. And when we moved up to Dowagiac, we were in this mindset of, you know, we're not even capable of being coaches. But, you know, and not to knock Dowagiac at all, we love Dowagiac. We love Dowagiac, what used to be Dowagiac Little League. I will say I'm a little disappointed that they walked away from Little League. So anyone in Dowagiac, I just make my, yeah, I'm disappointed there. But when we realized that not everyone is like Orlando, Florida, and Florida with major league retirees coaching, we decided to coach. So we've been coaching softball ever since. We even coached here in Nome when we came in. And we've had a lot of great times coaching all the way from 10U all the way up to 16U. And at one point we were coaching 12, 14, and 16 at the same time. But our girls are stellar. Our girls are girls that play so hard that they hurt themselves. We had one, her name is Emily. I won't say her last name, but she was so aggressive. She was a left-handed third base. Now, most people that know softball say, no, third base is not supposed to be left-handed. That should be first base. Well, it didn't matter with her. This girl was so aggressive. We went and we were playing in a tournament, and we were in the finals. And grant you, when you go to a softball field, they should have bases that are called breakaways, which means when you slide into them, if you slide too hard, the base should pop off. Well, this girl is so aggressive. When she slid into third base, it didn't pop off. So instead, Dave, if you're still on here, you'll appreciate this. Instead, her leg popped together, and it jammed. So here we are. This is probably a 95-degree day. She jammed so hard into that base that her leg locked in place. We sat there holding cardboard boxes over her to keep the sun off of her for about 40 minutes, waiting for an ambulance to come here. We ended up losing that game because we had 4 or 5 injuries. Yeah, Dave, ouch. Yeah, she went to Borges, I do believe, or Bronson, one of the 2 hospitals. All they could do is put her in an immobilizer that day. Injuries. We lost that game because we lost half of our team due to injuries that day. And then the last time we coached, last year we were in Dowagiac. We were coaching. It was at a tournament, and we had 2 girls, and it was just, I have a picture of this. I wish I could show you this. Talk about heart. Talk about not giving up. They come at each other, and one girl, they're going for this pop-up fly. The pitcher and third base come at each other, and they're going for this pop-up. And one girl goes down, the pitcher goes up. They flip. So the third base ducks because she sees the pitcher coming. The pitcher reaches out for the ball. She reaches. She's got this big reach while the third base ducks underneath her, trying to get out of her way. They flip. The third base or pitcher flips over her, hits so hard in the ground. They both just totally crash. And we're all like, oh, they're dead. But no, the first thing she does is reach up and shows she still has the ball and got the out. And then we took him to the hospital. So all my stories, are injuries, but that's not how it all ended. But that's the heart that these girls had for the game, and man, just amazing. Oh, Rodney, yeah, you remember that? Those are some stories. So somebody give me a word, and I'll find a story for you. I need a word. So there was another word yesterday. I'm trying to remember what some more of the words were that you gave me yesterday. Oh, somebody asked me to tell you more about the kid who caught his leg on fire that I mentioned yesterday when I first started. I'm like, does anybody have a kid under their care catch his leg on fire? So we were at and meanwhile, while I'm telling this story, if you want to try me out with throwing a word out there, just type it on the comments and I'll find a story from it. So we were doing a drinking. Taylor, hey, I said I'm only doing one self-incriminating story per episode. So this is back in the day when things were different. We were at we used to do, in youth group, we would go on these guys' camping trips. So we were at a camping trip for the weekend, and we would go out and go to state parks, and we would just rough it camp. And we would just go there and camp, have tents and just spend the weekend camping. And one of the guys, his name is John, Craig, excuse me, let me get the brother correctly, had fuel on his leg. And when he got fuel on his leg, and the night before he was playing with fire and he caught his pants on fire. He had corduroys and he caught his pants on fire and he thought it was funny, and he patting his legs out, and he thought it was funny because they caught on fire and he got it out. So the next day he's got fuel on his leg, and he had his leg by the fire and it didn't catch, and he started joking around about it. And he thought that was funny. We're like, man, we're just kind of razzing him like he stuck his leg by the fire. So here's this guy thinking, oh, it's not going to be any big deal. I can catch my leg on fire and then just put it back out again. So he literally sticks his leg that is covered with fuel, this is like lantern fuel, over the fire, and it goes up in flames. So his leg goes up and he just stands there. And now there's a guy named Cleve. So we're like, roll on the ground. And so we throw him on the ground. And Cleve has always had this big army jacket. We throw him on the ground and Cleve throws his jacket on him. And we're like, roll over. And he just stands there because he's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. We couldn't get the guy to roll over. So he rolls over finally and we get his leg out. So he's got this huge burn on his leg. So I take him in. I had to leave all the guys there, and I take him into the hospital. And this is in Michigan. And we take him. It's near Ann Arbor, but we went to the closest hospital. And he's feeling no pain. And we go to the hospital, and it's really busy. And I said, okay, Craig, when we get there, and we didn't realize how bad it was. And we get to the hospital, I said, all right, Craig, when we get there, I said, this is what I need you to do. When we go to triage, and on a scale of 1 to 10, when they ask you how bad the pain is, I need you to just over-exaggerate the pain so they get you right in. So we walk into the hospital, and as soon as we walk in the hospital, he starts screaming. It's like, ah! I mean, like just going nuts. And they just rush him right into the room. And then we get right into the room, and then he gets in, and they give him sedatives and all this stuff. And I'm like, Craig, man, that was really good. He goes, no, that was real. So what happened was there was air conditioning in the hospital. When that cold air hit his leg, the pain finally kicked in. But it's not over yet. So when we get in there, this is a University of Michigan hospital. And this kid had this growth, this weird, I can't even explain it. But there's plenty of pictures out there, probably in the university school, of something on his toe. And so they had all these students come in, and they're pretending to look at his leg, but they're actually looking at his toe. So, yeah, so then they send us to the Ann Arbor to have it looked at, because they wanted to send us to the burn clinic in Ann Arbor. And meanwhile, just so you know, his dad's involved. His dad knows all about this. And so we go to the burn clinic in Ann Arbor. And now, grant you, we have been camping. This is like the last day camping. We stink. We smell like sweat. We smell like guys. And we smell like campfire smoke. So we go to this nice burn clinic, which is normally by appointment. And here we're getting rushed in on like fast appointment. So we go to this burn clinic, and we show up. And we have an appointment for like 2 hours later. And we get to the burn clinic, and we sit down, and all of a sudden you start to notice like everybody's starting to spread around us, and we're sitting next to people, and then all of a sudden we have nobody next to us, and then it gets farther and farther and farther. The next thing we know is Craig Troutman. We missed, like our appointment time got booted up just to get us out of there because we stunk so bad. So yeah, I mean, I could continue on. We call him Torch now. We came up with a lot of his brother. Oh, I just gotta go here. His brother, they're twins, and his brother got mad once when we had it's called the eclipse. Jesse, you say stop, it gets worse. His brother got angry once, and at the eclipse we had this front door that had like plate glass window front door, and he got mad and he slammed the door, but he missed the door and he hit the plate glass. And he broke through the glass and he cut the top of his finger off, the skin, all the top of his finger off. And Dana, my wife, took him to the hospital, and they were almost going to have to graft skin and put it on his finger. So they called and said, we might be a while because they might have to graft skin and put it on his finger. And so back at the eclipse, we're like, okay, so they're going to have to graft skin from his butt to put on his finger. So, we were thinking butt finger, and just think of all the jokes you can come up with butt finger. You can pick your nose and your butt at the same time. Just go with that on your own. But yeah, John, here's to you. I'll make sure. But just on your own, just think of all the butt finger jokes you can make. Yeah, just go with that. So let's see. Drinking, Taylor. Yes, I'll do a drinking one. I'll take that challenge. I drink coffee. Yep, there's your story. I drink coffee. All right, jogger. A jogger. Oh, Heather, okay, I don't know which one of you put jogger up, but see, there's an incriminating story. I could tell incriminating stories about joggers, but that would be things that I did that were really bad. Hey, Rita. Yeah, I used to be bad in my car. I used to do things when I was in high school. Me and a guy named Brett and a few other people, we were the posse, and we had our own group that would come with us. And let's just say I kept a kit in my car, and it included fireworks. Oh gosh. Triggered a memory. So jogger is triggering a memory. So we used to keep stuff in the car, and like I kept fireworks and bottle rockets and stuff that we could like launch out the window when we saw people, like joggers. And we're idiots. And this is back in high school. This is back in the 80s, so don't judge me. This is the bad Chad and evil Chad. He doesn't exist anymore. Dana said I have an evil zip that pops out, and that bad Chad comes back once in a while. But like I said, we'd see somebody like a jogger, and I'd grab a pack of firecrackers, and I'd be driving down the road, and I'd light it and move right behind the jogger, or in front of them, and yeah. Well, one time I was in my brother's brand new car, and we saw somebody, and I took a pack of firecrackers. You know, my buddy Brett was there. Todd was not in the car. Maybe he was. No, I think he was in the car. No, he wasn't. It doesn't matter. I digress. So I get I had a duffel bag, nice 1980s duffel bag, and we get the pack of firecrackers out. Brett gets it ready for me, and I'm driving, and get the lighter, and I light the firecrackers, and I toss them out the window, and we're going about 40 miles an hour. And I throw them out, and they blow back in, and they land right in my lap. And here I am driving, and so I'm up, and I just got to back up for this one so you can see me. And I'm up, and I'm like sitting up in my seat like this, and they're pew, 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 like I'm driving like this. And then I finally sit down, and that last one, if you do firecrackers, you know that last one is always that trailer. The last one just got me. But unfortunately, this is my brother's brand new 1987 or 1988 Pontiac Sunbird that my grandpa had just got him, that now has like 15 little firecracker burns in this brand new seat. So sorry, Todd. Sorry, Grandpa. So all of a sudden, Todd would keep this like pillow top on his seat. It took a while for my grandpa to find out, and we got in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, see what Jogger brought up? Campground. We had a spot at Leisure Valley, and I'll tell you a story from the campground. Okay, so anybody ever experienced an axe murderer? Well, I've experienced an axe attempted murderer. So we had a spot, and there's so many different things that happened to that campground, and I was kind of like the campground chaplain / security, because I was the only one that actually, not the only one, but I was one of the main ones that actually had that would step up when things happen. I remember it was about 1:32 in the morning, and Jeremy, this was when he was a little bit younger, he was still a teenager, and he comes to me and says, "Dad, some lady come over and said she just killed her husband." I'm like, okay, she's drunk. And so we go over and investigate, and she comes and said, "I just killed my husband with an axe." And I walk over there, and I grabbed somebody else. So I didn't go over by myself, but I grabbed somebody else. We walked over there, and there's this hatchet sitting there, and there's a guy with a big gash on the top of his head. He was bald, a big old 2 gashes on the top of his head. At that point, he was passed out, sitting on their little makeshift deck with 2 hatchet marks on the top of his head. So of course we called the police. The guy wasn't dead, but she was drunk. She got angry at her man, and she took a hatchet and she beat him over the head with it, trying to kill him. that was just one of many delightful stories of what happened there. Yeah, that's what happened at the campground. So yes, I have experienced an attempted axe murder. Yep. What other words do you have for me? Let me see if I missed anything. So yeah, the Be Righteous story. I've got to get a prop for that one. You guys have been bugging me about that one. So I told you about Perkin beans. Now this one's sort of self-incriminating. So we built Perkin Beans, the coffee shop in Dowagiac, which no longer exists, while it was closed during Christmas break. We just kind of shut it down. We built it from scratch. It was a youth group in Dowagiac, and we just kind of, it closed, and all of a sudden it opened, and it just existed. So we built it from scratch. Well, we knew what we were doing, but we really didn't know what we were doing. And the day that we did all of the plumbing, all the sewer, so we ran a lot of sewer line to run, and we had to basically put in sewer line from the bar upstairs into the existing sewer way in the back room. And the day we did that, Dana and I ran all the pipes, and we had a few teenagers help us, like holding things in place. Well, we had one guy, his name is Dave, was upstairs, and we had to run the pipes from upstairs to downstairs, and we had to have an open trap. So we had him, while we were connecting from the downstairs, we had him holding the upper piece so we could connect from downstairs. And it was only a 5-minute job. Well, Dave, as we're downstairs, was like, all right, hold this in place for about 5 minutes. Well, he stayed. He didn't realize that he could stop. So here he is with this open pipe, just a big open trap. He's, the whole time we're putting the plumbing in, he's just sitting there getting all the fumes. Well, we had a fan going, but it was not well ventilated. So there's about 6 people in this whole place working, and the fumes from the plumbing glue. So needless to say, everybody was a little tipsy. It was like having laughing gas. I will say it that way. Everyone was a little happy. Well, one of the things about this whole adventure. Now, remember, this is a youth group doing this, and Danette and Dana and I and a couple older people, Ben, we decided the whole time we were doing this, we're not going to change our clothes. We're just going to, loopy, that's a good word for it, loopy. I'll use that word. We're just going to stay in the same clothes the whole time until we're done. It's just some dumb thing we're doing. And I, for some reason, and those who know me know that I can have pretty bad gas. I had terrible gas that whole time. Bad ventilation and terrible gas. Well, the thing is, this is a huge building with one bathroom way in the back. So I'm upstairs, and I had gas, and it was, without having great sanitation or personal sanitation, I got tired of, I had to wipe sometimes after gas. Now, I told you this is self-incriminating. And I got tired of running all the way down, so I would go into the back room and I would just take a paper towel and I would just wipe myself, just because it's sweat and gunk and whatever. Yeah, this is gross. Just if you don't like it, you just sign out. I apologize. So at one point, I made a joke and I just took this paper towel. So just imagine this is paper towel, and I went in the back room and then I folded it up, and it was dirty, and I just set it. Just took this paper towel and I just set it on the counter. Well, a couple hours later, we're done. Everybody's done. But the plumbing's done. This paper towel is still sitting on the counter. And we are all just having fun. The work's done. We're all laughing. We're all just having a great time. And another guy walks in, and I won't say his name because I don't want to embarrass him. And he walks in, and he's behind all this. And he's like, whoa, what's going on here? And, we're all loopy, as Jesse says. We're all loopy. And he wanted to catch in on all this. And one of the guys, Dave, and as she says, I know which Dave this is. Dave says, we told him, well, we're a little loopy from the fumes of the glue. And Dave says, well, there's some on that paper towel right there. And I kid you not, this guy took the paper towel and he went like this. And I'm telling you, we were on the floor laughing. I'm telling you, it was probably 30 minutes. We could not, we were literally couldn't breathe, hyperventilating on the floor, kicking and screaming. The guy had no idea what was going on. So I'm laughing just thinking about it. So we call it the butt rag, but we had to stop calling it the butt rag. So we call it the BR, which stands for Be Righteous. So anytime you hear Be Righteous, it's just a reminder of the butt rag story. So yes, I did that, but yeah, that's the Be Righteous story. I know it's bad, it's evil. I didn't exactly do it, but I didn't stop it, and unfortunately, it's one of those that you never live down. And yeah, some things you do as a youth pastor you regret, and some things you just, yeah, it was, it's one of those stories. Hey Terry, entertainment while I work. Well, that was the plan. Well, it is 7:30. That makes it, my half hour is up. So I will see you all on the next version of Bedhead Chat with Chad. You guys have a great day. Send me your words for my topics, and have a wonderful morning. Don't forget, there's no reason to shower. There's no reason to shave. There's no reason to get out of your pajamas. Enjoy your day. Have a great one. We will see you later.